Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Sunless, guys. In the last episode we spent some more time in Piranesi, and I do believe, is there one more person we need to speak to here to get the full picture of Piranesi? Let's enter the cottage. We've done the Gallant Reformer, sorry. The Glistening Deformer, the Grey Conformer, the Glib Performer. I think the only person I haven't done now is the Deformer, which is probably the worst one. His hood hides the worst of him. He reminds you that this is your last tour of the day. A knotted, multi-jointed limb unwinds from the glistening Deformer's sleeve. With surprising dexterity, he plucks an iron lamp from an high shelf. "Follow me," he commands. You follow him out of the cottage, up the gravel path to the doorstep of Piranesi. Footprints are worn into the stone. He has no key. He unfurls a notched, scabbed finger from his unpleasant limb and slides it into the keyhole. The door opens with a click, and you follow the Deformer into the dark. Deeper into Piranesi, the Deformer takes down his hood. Tangled flesh recoils in the cold air. He has eyes in all the wrong places, a dozen different varieties of mouth gulp in unison. "Better." Tension has drained from his voice. "Welcome to the Warrens." You descended into a brick-walled pit, larger than a quarry. At the centre stands a colossal column, honeycombed with tunnels, and the holes so small you couldn't squeeze an arm inside. One gaunt prisoner sits atop a spiked wheel, casually aiming a rifle at the Deformer's head. So I can either follow the Deformer has stumped off to address a cluster of prisoners clinging to a central column. I can insist that the rifleman lowers his gun, wouldn't do to have your chaplain's head blown off this early into a tour, or I can encourage the rifleman to shoot the Deformer. It would leave you lost in Piranesi, but it might be worth it. Do we follow the Deformer first? Let's follow him first and then see what happens. Haggard prisoners cluster on ledges like gargoyles, clinging by fingertips and tailbones. Most still look human. "The Warrens are your salvation," says the Deformer. "Become glorious like me, majesty in monstrosity, beauty in abomination." One shivering wretch hops down. "A volunteer?" asks the Deformer in delight, nudging him towards a tunnel far narrower than he is. But on seeing the tunnel, the would-be volunteer changes his mind and backs away. So we have two options. We can persuade the prisoner to enter the tunnel. The Deformer looms over the poor fellow. "How do you expect to escape here without the will to transform? 26%, huh? Or I can convince the prisoner to stay out of the tunnels. Whatever the Deformer might believe, physical change isn't enough to escape Piranesi. Or we can just walk away. Let's see if we can persuade him to go through the tunnel. It's 26% or 40%. 40% does increase my chance. Let's convince them to stay out of the tunnels and hope this isn't some sort of breaking of a rule. Nice. Your words strike a chord. "Take this," says the volunteer, fishing a gold locket from beneath his shirt. "A relic from my old life. I probably need to let go of it if I'm to escape here. You may as well have it." I think you saved me from making a terrible mistake. He hurries away and the other prisoners follow. You may think me terrible, but a change to the body is easier to bear than a change to the soul, says the deformer behind you. I am trying to spare these people from the worst of what Piranesi could do to them. That's fair, I guess. Do we encourage the rifleman to take the shot? How bad can it be? See what happens. I'm curious. The rifle-wielding vigilante is a gaunt fellow, eyes deep-set and gleaming, cheekbones sharp as cut glass. His curly hair would sit much better on a fuller, healthier face. On hearing your murmur of encouragement, he pulls the trigger a few times, generating a chorus of unassuming clicks. Ain't loaded. Burned through my ammunition long ago. Except this. He points to a bullet hung around his neck on a length of string, saving it for a rainy day. You notice the deformer frowning in your direction, with at least 3 of his eyes. Did he hear? He might have heard. Gisand, he says. I need to change if I'm to escape this place, right? But I'm a stubborn fella. Not one much prone to introspection, if you catch me drift. He gestures hopelessly at the Warrens. I need to have a shape in mind as I crawl through, or else I'll just be squished to mush. Any suggestions? Well, I can offer to help. Can bring moments of inspiration to help the vigilante think of his new form. Or we can say we won't help him alter himself. You shouldn't take the deformer's words to heart. Or we can encourage him to find another way to change. Changing his shape might not prove enough for Piranesi. Do I have any moments of inspiration? Let's find out. The vigilante salutes. Much obliged. I'll be here if you think of anything. I have 5. Let's give him one and see what happens. Offer a moment of inspiration to the pragmatic vigilante. Help him think of a new, nastier shape. You sit beside the vigilante and begin offering ideas. And he likes what he hears. His skin ripples. Skin is so fragile. Has he considered a carapace? Eyes are a weakness when he could taste the air with his tongue. And oh, the possibilities for limbs. He objects to some of your proposals, agrees enthusiastically to others. Finally, his imagination stoked like a fire, the vigilante thanks you and begins to crawl into one of the tunnels. You leave him to his privacy as he threads himself in, inch by crunching and convulsing inch. I traded a moment of inspiration for a tale of terror. That's not a good trade. We can convince the vigilante to abandon his physical transformation. Does this help me in some way? An outward change isn't enough. He should abandon his grudges and his enemies. Should I try it just to see what happens? I don't have the deference to the deformer here. I don't think I do want to convince him to stop. I think I want to come back and give him more moments of inspiration at some point. Okay, well, let's leave Piranesi. As you leave the Warrens, the deformer sighs and raises his hood. He says nothing more for a long time. The deformer stumps back up the stairs, squelching with every footstep, and you hurry at his heels. The glistening deformer strides before you, putting his hood back in place. Up narrow stairs, over precarious bridges, beneath crumbling bartizans, The architecture seems to have changed since you last walked here, but it's as jumbled and oppressive as ever. You pass a squalling thing, clinging to the wall. It lacks structure or substance, except its stark eyes. "What's my name?" it mewls. What is this thing? It stretches a vague, pleading limb in your direction. A formless thing. It's lost its shape and didn't acquire a new one, says the deformer sadly. It has changed, but not enough, and it has diminished far more. Ignore it. There is no hope for it. I can either tell it a story or I can give it a name. The fact that this says unlock this by not having the second rule of Piranesi makes me think that giving it a name is a bad idea. I feel like that might teach me the second rule. Now, on one hand, I do need to know the second rule. On the other hand, this place could destroy my character, as we have already experienced ever so slightly. Shall we tell it a story? Perhaps your words will soothe. The formless thing listens, silent and rapt. Is it your imagination, or has its shapeless paw separated into a 5-fingered hand? At the conclusion, it bursts into tears and begs for another, but your chaplain already grows impatient and tugs you away. It shouts after you, its voice stronger and clearer. And there we go, we've had our second tour for the day, so we're going to leave the cottage. We need to sort out our terror, don't we? So it may be time for us to go back to Pan. I don't know how long it's been, though. Which could be a problem, I'll admit. I could try and, snake through here, try and uncover this part of the map. Could be something up here as well. I could also go to the Eagle's Imperium, try and lower my terror there, but I guess I could go through Pan, just in case. We do have literature to the Eagle's Imperium. I'm not carrying any literature, so that's a good idea. Let's go to the bank and see if I got enough literature. I need 5. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Hopefully, my terror doesn't go out of control before I get to Pan. Let's hit the cruise control and let's cross our fingers. I don't think there's any terrors or anything. Do I want to go through bloody Spinster's Garden? I keep going through the Spinster's Garden and it sucks. Problem is, if I go up this way and there isn't a way this way, it could cause some problems. I could go round. I could just go through the Spinster's Garden. Oh, this is just bad, isn't it? Let's go round. Let's go down and round. I don't think it's going to add that much time to our journey. I still need to find a way of getting a little bit more... Was it veils I needed? So I can re-equip my ratty baggage handlers. Oh dear. Amazing. I try to avoid the spinsters, yet somehow there they are. Fantastic. I ever mentioned how much I love them? They're so good. That AoE that just increases my terror if I get too close is chef's kiss. Okay, we got 1 barrel. Well, we got 2 barrels because one of them's technically just started. We should have enough to get to Pan. Money-wise, we aren't doing too great. I could do with making some more money. Oh, thank God, the wind has stopped. Good Lord. That whole time I was in Piranesi, I just had the wind howling in my ears. It is not a good sound. I'm wondering if I should go back to Langley Hall and do more of Langley Hall. Obviously, we still have the House of Rod and Chains. It's so RNG, though, and I feel like having 100 episodes back-to-back of me just going back and forth between, you know, House of Rod and Chains and Piranesi is going to be very boring. I probably should have just given that formless thing a name, just so I could learn the second rule and get further into Piranesi, but there is an easier way of doing it, and I feel like that might be the better way. We need to talk to that flutist. I think we need to deliver her something. Was it literature? I should go back and watch my episode to make sure. You are in the possession of a certain otherworldly artifact. It has begun to appear persistently in your dreams. Never prominent, but always present. Sat innocuously on a mantelpiece, half hidden in a shadowed corner. Carried, casually, by a loved one. I can either burn it, a more certain approach. This will cost fuel, but your terror will not increase. I can offer it to the Waste Waif. The Waif is one of the gods that Skyfarers pray to. It takes an interest in outcasts and the lost, and tends winds as a shepherd tends sheep. I can tolerate its continued intrusions. To destroy it smacks of superstition. You'll not be driven to unreasonable behaviour by some heathen goo-gore of the skies. Our terror will increase. We can smash it. It will trouble you no more. Reduce your terror by 50, but increase your nightmares. Let's offer it to the Waste Waif. 50% chance this goes my way. Nice. You open a hatch and fling the artifact out into the sky, following it with imprecations about how it is unwanted and unwelcomed and unloved. The winds snatch it away. Did that work? And now the Waste Waif is watching me. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, time will tell. I cannot remember what the interactions with the different gods of the skies are. I know in Sunless Seas, you don't mess with the gods. I'm imagining it's pretty much the same here. I guess we'll find out when my ship inevitably explodes when a Waste Wave tries to eat it or something. I mean, it could be worse. It could be the giant worm in the sky, the burrower, the one where there's a shrine in that other place that I forgot the name of. That's embarrassing. It's in the Reach, right? The Reach. Yes, Carillion. There we go. Oh man, look at the Blue Kingdom. That's how far I got into the Blue Kingdom before I died. We'll be going back there at some point. Albion and Eleutheria are looking pretty good though. It's mostly just money. The problem is, I find just grinding for money horrendously boring. That's why I try and fit it in while doing other story stuff. It's not the most entertaining content for me to be making videos on, me just going backwards and forwards doing prospects. But what I probably should be doing is doing the prospects and then just doing whatever story I have there, go where the fates tell me to go, as it were, whilst making as much money as possible so we can get a better loadout, better ship. Our ship's pretty good. We just need better guns and stats, so we need to level up a bit. I should check what I need in order to get my ratty baggage handlers back. That extra space, that extra 11 slots is huge. Especially in a ship like this with quite a small... I say quite a small, it's got 18, that's quite big. Please lower my terror, or I'm in trouble. Oh, thank God. It's the hour of arguments, when the factions of Pan gather in the forum to debate and quarrel. The piping of the adamant idol has become a military march. It is the hour of argument, when Pan's inhabitants gather at the forum to resolve matters that can't be settled through a payment, a duel, or a murder. The artists of the neo-nocturnal school maintain the forum. Their sculptures of long-limbed ecstatics litter the stage. So I can either listen and observe. The current Cyprus king presides over the debates, making rulings if an agreement can't be reached. Or I can partake in the feast. Not killing each other is hungry work. A feast is provided each season to keep things civil. I said session, not season. Close enough. Let's gain supplies. Let's do it. Tables at one side of the forum are laden with spiny, burgundy fruit. Wizened nodules you decide to imagine are nuts, and skewers of smoked meats. Pan's groves have learned to bloom in the dark, and the lower territories of the city are overgrown with fertile vines, combed by foragers. We gain 2 supplies, that is not bad. Can I hand you portal ports? I can. Let's do it. Gain some money as well. 4 Eleutherian mysteries. I could get a Searing Enigma for my moment of inspiration. I feel like that's quite a good trade. Alright, shops. Do I have 5? I do. Let's grab all of those. Ministry approved literature. I'm going to grab 6 just in case I needed one for the other lady in Piranesi. And then we're going to 5 sacks of verdant seeds for Achilles. I don't think there's a place I can get them. Iberus and the Leadbeater and Stainrod Nature Reserve. Yeah, that's not easy to get, but I'll grab it just to make sure. Then we want to go to the night market, make sure we buy some fuel and supplies here, and that leaves us at 17 out of 18, and we can head off to the Eagle's Empyrean. Maybe go to the Wonder or something, but I think getting to the Eagle's Empyrean and doing this prospect is probably going to be the end of the episode. But we'll see. I would like to go to the Wonder to lower my terror. Ooh, the Selenium. What a nice name. Oh. Wait, something... Grave. I'm sure it's fine. Let's go rob some graves. A nameless monument deteriorates here, the wind whistling through its solemn stones. That is a lot. That was the wrong button. I wanted L. Leave me be. We're friends. We're not friends, are we? Nice. Bloody dousers. I could try and kill the dousers a few times, see if I can get some interesting bits and pieces. One on its own I might be able to take out. More than one? Eh. Problem with looting the dousers, oh frickin' Scribe Spinsters, man, is that they're lethal. Like, I lose so many crew from just trying to loot dousers, it's unbelievable. Nope. Go away, Scribe Spinster. Oh, piss. If I try and fight it? I don't really have room for any loot that it would drop. Let's just avoid it for now. Into the Belt of Midnight. What could possibly go wrong? I can hear something shooting around. Carnet or... Oh no, it's the lightning. Okay, never mind. Don't you think it's weird how the Carnet decided to build the Eagle's Empyrean on the other side of the Belt of Midnight? Like, it circles the Empyrean. They built the Empyrean in the middle of this goddamn cloud. I guess it kind of acts as a defense, but maybe it's more that the Carnet's under attack. Or they thought they could conquer the darkness with their electric lamps. Which, in their defense, they kind of have. Very impressive. You are Carganian? Yes, you are. Right, leave the light on. The Khans have always been more suspicious of devils than London. Yes, rightly so, I feel. Okay, firstly, let's go to the bazaar and hand over our Ministry Approved Literature for 950 money and 250 experience, which is pretty good. Bronzewood? What remains of the Guinevere? A scrap merchant is selling off plating from a wrecked locomotive. A plaque on one of the larger plates reads the Guinevere. Her lights failed, the scrap merchant explains. So she crashed. One of Eleutheria's little tricks. I don't think we need that. I could get some bombazine? I think it's really expensive, so probably not. And I could lower my terror and stuff here, but I do think I'm going to end this episode here. I don't know what I'm going to do in the next episode. Should we go back to Langley Hall, spend a load of money and try and explore a lot more of Langley Hall? Or do we continue with Piranesi? Do I try and find out what I need to learn the second rule? Achilles is kind of a washout until I can get into the church. I could focus on trying to get into the church of Achilles. That would require me to go back to the Reach. Admittedly, the Reach relay is right here, so I could pay to go back to the Reach. Do some of the stuff that we need to do. We need to see the... I've forgotten what they're called again. The Revolutionaries. We need to do the Revolutionary story in the Reach. And we need to go to Lustrum to get a taste for coffee, which could be useful, and maybe pick up our men who've been, you know, mining for hours this entire time. Well, we'll come up with something. But either way, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. Thank you again to the members of the channel and the coffee supporters. It really does mean the world to me and help me keep making these videos. And as always, I'll see you next time.